Dentistry in General Radio Network presents
DIG's official podcast with Dr. Bob D.
This episode is brought to you by Digapalooza, the premier CE event every November in Chicago. This exclusive event features world-renowned speakers delivering quality bread-and-butter topics that is more than CE. It's a connection to a supportive dental community. For early bird pricing and more details, visit dentistryingeneral.com. In this episode,
so dentists are correct when they get the feeling of marketing just feels like I pay money and I get nothing back. And this is largely an operational issue. Go into your market, go call 10 or 20 dentists, specifically call the ones that are running ads. And you will see that about 30 to 40% of them just don't answer the phone. And the reason for that, it's very simple. So meaning early in the morning when your team's just getting there and some people are running a little bit late, that's when most people are calling. And then again at lunch, when you send everybody to the Mexican restaurant to get fajitas. And then in the afternoon, when your team's trying to clock off and trying to get out of the office, this is why there's a demand versus a supply issue of people just not answering the phone. So what we've done is we've reverse engineered all these simple little things, put them into simple trainings, and then we give them back to people. And then if you use them, you will grow.
Beyond Ads, How Systems, Staff, and Strategy Can Make or Break Dental Marketing. Dr. Bob D. interviews Gary Bird.
Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Gary Bird. Gary is one of the marketing sponsors in our group, and I wanted to come out and talk to him and find out why he's different than other marketing groups. I know why. He's everywhere. But I wanted to know, basically, tell me what you do and what your strategy is in marketing dental companies to the public. And I'm also a student, so I'd like to learn. Go ahead and Tell me a little about yourself, Gary. How did you start with this? And tell me about your company.
First, thank you for having me. I am excited. I've asked Bob probably about 7 times to join his group, and each time he's graciously told me, Gary, you're not allowed in the group. And I go, oh yeah, okay, thanks. And so finally he said, you know what, we have an opening for a sponsor opportunity. And I jumped at the chance because you have a great group. You have a great group of people there. And I love the way that you've set it up. Even though I don't get to be a part of it, I like it. I probably do the same if I was a dentist. So my main job is to argue with dentists on Facebook. And so that's where I spend most of my time. And you've probably seen me there. If not, you're not on Facebook. But usually what you'll find is that I'm usually trying to change the way that dentists think. And I love the way dentists think from a clinical standpoint. And when I need to get my teeth fixed or something's going on in my mouth, I know who to go to and I know how they think through the problem. However, that's not usually the best mindset to have when it comes to growing a business. And those two things they clash a lot of the times. And so what my job is to help dentists understand how to actually grow and some of the nuances around growth. And I realize that it's a big hill to climb, I'll say that, because a lot of times dentists have a negative taste about marketing companies from just past experiences, and I get that. So I have to work through some of those preconceived notions, and my job is to educate the market on why we're different and how you have to actually tackle this in a different way. And it's not everything is what it seems when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, I always talk about expectations. I was talking to a dental coach this morning, and I said marketing and coaches for dentistry have the toughest job because you can do the best job you can. If the systems in the office are not correct, you don't get results, and you don't get results, people are going to stop paying. So it's a difficult job for you guys to do. But what I want to know is you have this strategy of giving. I like that strategy because I do that myself. Is that to give?
Yeah.
And then try to see if people want to be in business with you. Tell me a little about that.
Yeah. So what we did is we reverse engineered our process. So growing in dental is actually very simple. Marketing for dentists. I've marketed before I worked exclusively with dentists. I've worked with just about every kind of business under the sun. I had a pretty good sized agency before we niched down just into dental. And dental is actually one of the easier things to market for. There's a high demand and there's a low supply. So there's people in almost every single market looking for a dentist, and most of the time dentists don't answer the phone, close to 40% of the time. And then on top of that, they don't know how to convert on the phone. So the average conversion rate for marketing new patients is around 50%. And then from there, you have availability issues. The average time to appointment right now is about 3 weeks in dental. So when you add all those up, you lose close to 100% of your marketing opportunities before they get in the door. So dentists are correct when they get the feeling of marketing just feels like a scam. It feels like I pay money and I get nothing back. you are 100% correct. Actually, you get more than nothing back. You get labor and no profit back because of the way that dental is structured. And this is largely an operational issue. So what we've done is we've reverse engineered that and then give away free resources to help people close those gaps. So if people don't know how to answer the phones, right? They don't realize, I talk about this a lot. It's a lot of people don't believe me, Bob. Like they go, no, not my practice, everybody else, but not mine. No, your practice. If you don't measure it, it's your practice. Go into your market and go. We were just talking about Bob's market in Illinois. Go into your market, go call 10 or 20 dentists at a random time. Right now in Pacific time, it's 12:30. Go call 10 or 20 offices. You will see specifically call the ones that are running ads. So they're spending money on marketing, right? And you will see that about 30 to 40% of them just don't answer the phone. It's crazy. I've done this live on stage. And the reason for that, it's very simple, is that the demand for dentists happen at the same time every single day and for the same practices. So meaning early in the morning when you're least staff and your team's just getting there and some people are running a little bit late, that's when most people are calling. And then again at lunch, when you send everybody to the Mexican restaurant to get fajitas, that's when everybody's calling and you're not there. And then in the afternoon, when your team's trying to clock off and trying to get out of the office and trying to go pick up their kids and those kind of things, that's when people call. This is why there's a demand versus a supply issue of people just not answering the phone. So that's one thing that I talk a lot about. And then also answering like pricing questions. I have a whole training on this, just free. So dentist drives them up the wall, right? So it's such a nuanced conversation, but it's so easy to solve. Patients call and say, hey, how much is it for a crown? Your front desk goes, oh, we're not allowed to give pricing over the phone, which then that person doesn't schedule 100% of the time. And then they come to you and they say, oh, don't worry, doc, I'm weeding out all those price shoppers for you. And the doc goes, yay, good job, Susan. You're weeding out all the bad patients we don't want. In fact, what they just did is they weeded out a high intention dental patient that would have came in and got a crown if you just knew how to answer the simple question. How much is an implant? All you have to do is say, we'd love to be able to help you with that. Let me ask you a couple questions. Is the tooth impacted? How many roots does the tooth have? Oh, you don't know? That's fine. Let's get you in for a consultation. We'll be able to answer all your questions. That's it. Like you ask a couple redirecting questions and the patient's ready to come in and buy treatment from you immediately. Unfortunately, they end up going to some other practice. And so these are the kinds of issues that we have. So what we've done is we've reverse engineered all these simple little things, put them into simple trainings, some SOPs, some videos, some other sources, and then we give them back to people. And then if you use them, you will grow. Like you will actually get more new patients through the door. And then my hopes is that you make more money. And then you're like, okay, now I want to make more money. And so I need to hire an associate or add another location, whatever. I'm going to actually go talk to Gary and give them an opportunity.
Yeah, it's a great topic of training your staff. And I know I was talking to another marketeer just recently, and we have no issues of spending $100,000 on COIS education and get better at clinical. However, I'm guilty. How much money did I spend training my staff? You know, how many seminars have I sent my front desk to answer phones? Who did I bring in to tell them how to answer phones? It's not their fault. It's my fault. It's the training that is not there. And I used to read some famous philosopher called Gary V, telling you that when you yell at your employees, it's not their fault. It's your fault. You didn't train them well.
This episode brought to you by DIGRN, the premier CE event every November in Chicago. This exclusive event features world-renowned speakers delivering quality bread and butter topics that is more than CE. It's a connection to a supportive dental community. For early bird pricing and more details, visit dentistryingeneral.com.
There's training and then there's accountability, because actually dentists are better than most entrepreneurs because they like training. Dentists are one of the few people out there that are like, see, this is awesome. And dentists are like lifelong learners. And so they will push their team towards a training. However, they're horrible at accountability. And it's usually because they're busy doing dentistry. Imagine that. And so they don't hold their team accountable to the training that they have. So like I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of dentists will add patient financing to their office, but then they never hold their team accountable to actually using it the right way. And so they're like, patient financing doesn't work. No, it works if your team actually uses it, but you did the whole training, you implemented it, you put it into place, and we have patient financing. And I've looked at the numbers. It's okay. You only did $2,000 this month in patient financing. Like that's crazy. I know that you lost a lot of patients out the door. I've seen the numbers. Most of that revolves around, I can't afford $2,000, $3,000 out of my pocket right now. And if you would have just presented patient financing, you would have got that $2,000 or $3,000. and you just didn't hold your team accountable to it. And then the other doctors are like, no, the fees. And it's how much did you lose out of your door just because of those fees, right?
Peace.
So it's accountability at multiple levels that's really missing. Training's awesome, but it's training plus the accountability.
You're making me feel bad now since you're describing me. Um, what I want you to tell me, take a few minutes, tell me your process. I want people listening or watching this video to know I'm ready to sign up with a marketing company. What does Gary do for me?
Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do, and I would never do any marketing without this getting done first at any level, is we look at your market. So we take your market and we look at your competition, and then we look at your income levels and your population levels. So that's going to first tell us right there supply, demand, and then also who you're up against. And that tells us a lot right off the bat. From there, we're then going to take your historic new patients over the last year or two, depending on how big or small you are. And then we're going to plot those out and figure out, okay, where are these patients coming from? And then we're going to want to attract more patients from that area or less from particular areas if you're not getting the right kind of patients. And then we're going to work with your team on tooling to make sure that you can get these patients in. And the problem is you have to start to be able to do that. So a lot of doctors are like, no, just teach me, then I'll do the marketing. And the problem is it's like baseball. To hit a baseball, you got to swing the bat a lot. And to make a free throw, you got to practice free throws a lot. But there's a huge difference between swinging a bat or shooting a free throw in practice and doing it in a game situation where the pressure's on. And same with your team. Like, I can teach people how to answer the phone really quickly, but it's a little bit different when it's live action, right? So you got to start to get reps in to be able to train your team. And people don't like that because it costs money. And then from there, we have to figure out what's the biggest gap in the doctor's understanding around business. Because typically they're like, a dentist will say things like, I want quality patients. Everybody says that. What they're really saying, and I've done this long enough to now to decipher this, they really mean that they want high trust patients. So dentists love patient referrals. If I referred my wife to your practice, you love her because you would be able to, if you didn't answer the phone, she'd call back. Your team doesn't have to be really trained that well to be able to convert that on the phone. So she's going to schedule pretty much no matter what. If you schedule her 4 weeks out, she's going to show up still. She's not going to go to the next dental practice. If you present too much treatment on the first visit, you get a little bit overkill, she's still going to be okay with that. Maybe not accept it all, but still stick with you. And she's going to recare very easily. None of that happens with a marketing new patient. A marketing patient that's coming from doing a 2-minute Google search and read your Google reviews, they're not going to call back a second time if you don't answer the phone. They're going to call the next practice. They're going to ask hard questions that your team, if they don't know how to answer, they're not going to schedule. They're not going to show up if you put them 4 weeks out. They're going to end up with another dental practice. If they do show up, they're not going to accept a boatload of treatment that you didn't explain well and didn't break down to the need and the why and what's going to happen if they don't do it and all those kind of things. And they're not going to schedule a recare visit if you didn't make them feel amazing about it. So, and it's not because you're not an awesome dentist. It's because there's not trust built there yet. And so we work with them on, okay, did you address the chief concern? They came in because they had a chipped tooth. Did you actually solve that for them like right away and get that taken care of? And then getting them back to their next appointment, their next hygiene appointment, you'll get the rest of the dentistry, right? If you can get them back to the hygiene appointment over and over again, eventually you'll do all of their dentistry. But if you don't get them to accept something in that first visit, or at least get back to the next hygiene appointment, you get nothing. And the problem is, you don't get any of the patient referrals from them later either. So where marketing begins to really take off and become this exponential growth where you hear about these dental practices that are just crushing it, what they have figured out is they got their high trust patients from patient referrals, but they're also producing high trust patients from their marketing patients by just getting them into the office, treating their chief concern, getting them back to their next hygiene appointment. And then those people start to refer to you. And that's how marketing produces high trust patients, not by, oh, they came in the chair and they didn't accept treatment right away, and now I don't want them anymore. Get them out of here. The real question is, did they have finances? Did they have the finances to afford the treatment that you had, which starts at targeting? And then if you just play the slow game with them, you will grow, and you'll grow huge. Like, I've worked with some really big practices, GP practices, that just followed this strategy, and it works every single time.
Yeah, and you talk about the word trust, and it's the most important thing. Trust and loyalty go hand in hand, right? It's no secret that internal marketing is the greatest marketing at the lowest cost.
Yes.
But those, you got to bring people in, and then you got to crack a smile. You got to show them on the intraoral camera that for them to build that trust. And that's some of the things that I think marketing companies don't usually stress, but I think your company does that, right?
You know how you have patients come in, Bob, that scare you and you're like, stink,
Mhm.
I wish this person didn't walk into my practice today. The dentists that scare me that walk into my business are dentists that have been in business for 10 years. They're getting 4 patient referrals a month. And they're like, all right, I want to give this marketing a try. Those are the worst kind of customers for us because number one, they haven't built out their internal, like people don't like going there. No one likes going to the dentist, let's be honest, but patients don't even want to refer there, which is a problem. And that's why you're only getting 4 referrals a month. And then number 2, adding marketing on top of that, it's great from a financial standpoint for me because you're going to become addicted to marketing and have to pay me lots of money forever. However, it's not a long-term strategy because you have to build patient referrals. You've got to build it, and half of your patients should be coming from patient referrals and the other half should be coming from marketing. And again, this isn't for like new dentists or people who are just
Right.
this and those kind of things, not for big treatment, this isn't for full arch and those kind of things, totally different. I'm talking about GP practices. And so if you don't have that internal patient journey down, marketing's a temporary fix, and I'll take your money and get you opportunities. But more than likely, you're just going to end up in the same boat that you're in right now until you fix that. Once you fix that, marketing becomes an amazing complement to what you're already doing.
Yeah, that's great. Hey, I just wanted to thank you for being here today. Do you have anything else to add at the end? Give me your best pitch.
My best pitch, follow me on social media, The Gary Bird, listen to my podcast, come fight with me in Facebook and tell me why I'm wrong. And I would really appreciate it. And then also, we have a group, which is an inclusive group. We allow dentists in as well as marketers.
Part of it. I'm part of it.
Yeah, so it is more technical, but we have more technical conversations, and the best dental marketers are in this group in the world. And we go in and we have nice conversations, and it allows you to peek behind the curtain as a dentist of what's going on and how marketers think. And you can definitely pick fruit from that tree 100%. I can never, if I get into a Facebook group, I am in some of them, not yours, but other ones where it's all clinical. I have no idea what anybody's talking about, but dentists are smart. You'll be able to eat the fruit from the tree. It's definitely a lot of good conversations there around growth.
Yeah, and I have to tell you guys, Gary is in a lot of places. He's genuine, but he does give a lot of information for free, specifically on your YouTube channel, and you can learn a lot. And you also teach a class.
I do so much stuff. I take everything that I've ever learned and I put it out there for free as much as possible. So if you follow me on social media, there is free stuff there. Every once in a while, I charge for like an event, or there's a course that like costs so much money to make that I have to charge a couple of dollars for it, or have to pay somebody to be involved with it. Like we have some like smile makeover courses that a doctor taught, because there's a lot of clinical and those kind of things involved with it. So those are like $99, but I try to keep everything for free because you know what? Dentists are the patients that they hate. Dentists want discounts. They want things for free. They are very noisy when things don't go exactly the way that they want. And I understand that. And I picked this career on purpose. So I try to give everything away for free and try to meet them where they're at and try to get them over to understand my side of the conversation. So
yes,
follow me on social media. Happy to have those conversations, and always looking for people to disagree with us.
Yes. Thanks again for being here. And hopefully we can do this on a quarterly basis. You can come and give us some gems.
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. This episode brought to you by DIGRN, the premier CE event every November in Chicago. This exclusive event features world-renowned speakers delivering quality bread and butter topics that is more than CE. It's a connection to a supportive dental community. For early bird pricing and more details, visit dentistryingeneral.com.
This has been a production of Dentistry in General Radio Network. Visit our website, dentistryingeneral.com, to join engaging clinical and business conversations, explore our dental podcasts, and stay updated on our upcoming live events.